It's time for Inside the Patch with your Las Vegas Raiders. Here's Gnarley Charley.
Welcome to Inside the Patch. Breaking news: the Niners have lost the Super Bowl at the Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium. Breaking news. That has happened. It's official. Let's go to Mitch Adams right now, see what he has to say about that.
Well, we set a number of booby traps around the field and, pulling strings and trip players, we had to. House of horror.
Mark Davis, he had to say, for the league's sake, they earned it. They deserve it. But nobody else was. Everyone. Max Crosby, the guy. Who you got, Max? Nobody. Raiders. And
right.
Even Antonio Pierce was like, yeah, great. Good job. Now get out.
Get out.
Go home.
You get to use it one day. Get out.
Right. And it's
it was a weird Super Bowl because the way I was raised, hate Kansas City, hate Denver, hate the Chargers. At one point, we hated Seattle when they were in the division. And just by nature of where I live in the Bay Area, you hate the Niners.
Well, you shared with us a couple weeks ago how you got assaulted at a grocery store from a Niners fan.
No, that was it. No, that was yeah. I got assaulted at a Niner game. I was about 19 years old. 150 pounds, 160 pounds, and I had a Raider starter jacket on.
And that was not
good. This was Chicago when in their heyday. They came in there and just trounced the Niners. And this behemoth of a man runs up to me, but we'll kick your. I don't know if I can curse or not. I think ass is okay.
I think
we could kick your ass, and I'm like looking at him like, holy smokes, dude, settle down, big guy.
Right.
And that, along with the way I was a Raider, or am a Raider fan, that really just turned me off of those guys.
I mean, I noticed today, a lot of people. That's Valentine's Day this last week, and people are wearing red still. And I noticed a lot of people in this area. I'm Central California, a lot of Niner jerseys and flags everywhere. And I kind of feel, because I'm not in Kansas City, so I can't witness what's going on there, But these people are sad. And and granted, they had it. They had it.
Well,
sort of. Maybe.
Sort of. And before we go any further, let's just send out a prayer for the people that were shot and the one that was killed at the Kansas City parade today. That is just ridiculous. So
I don't understand. I don't understand that kind of stuff. It's like, it's a game. It's a game.
One dead and over 20 shot, and a number were children. That's just it. And thank God some of those fans tackled that man. And the gun fell out when they tackled him, and so they were able to. That's a mental health issue
too. It's got to be. I mean, that's not football. No, there's not one person NFL fan that's okay with that.
No one's okay with that kind of crap. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, but
I'll be honest with you. When I went to the Warriors parade a couple of years ago, I was not comfortable in that crowd, and I was busy looking on the tops of buildings like, who's up there? It's a little unsettling.
I mean, it's kind of funny when you see somebody break their TV, right? And they're so angry. But then you're like, man, it's like, you just wrecked your TV, unless you're planning on getting another one. It's like, now what are you going to do? Now you got to talk to people in the house. You got no TV. Now
the number of videos that I saw, I mean, real life.
Right.
Scenes from homes everywhere of people smashing flat screens.
Right.
That's nuts.
I was at I would say primarily Niner crowd home party. There was some, but every time I just yelled stuff like, oh man, I just hit $1,000 on just any random thing that happened. That guy fumbled. Oh, if they fumbled one more time, I'm going to win 200. None of it was true. I just pretend I had all these stupid prop bets. Just yelled them out.
Oh, that's classic.
I mean, but it was, Super Bowl 58 in the books.
But okay, having had the Raiders lose back in 2002, I think it was 2002, that hurt. When the Warriors lost, that hurt. And I know what that feeling is because you live and die with your team's success and failures. And I did not gloat with any of my Niner friends. I didn't call anyone because I know how they felt. And that was enough for me to sit back and laugh. And I was on a call at a meeting Monday morning. And before the call, I told one guy around 7 a.m. Pacific, I said, do not bring up the football game because one of our guys is a huge Niner fan. I mean, this guy eats and sleeps it. I said, don't bring it up. Just leave it alone. Or don't bring me into it. And the first thing he says, something about, too bad San Francisco lost. Oh, but I guess Mitch is okay with it. I'm like, here we go.
So he brought you into it. He
brought me into it. And I don't want to rub salt in their wounds.
Right. It's nice
because enough salt is in those wounds right now anyway.
Unsaid, there's enough unsaid that it still hurts.
Yeah. And for me, I can take a little happiness out of their uncomfortableness, their sadness, whatever you want to say. I'm okay with that because I know all the trash they were talking. It's gone. It's done. And they might be done because some of the players will leave, other teams will get better. So, yeah, this was their opportunity.
It's hard to get back there. It's really hard to get back there. And I don't know. What was your takeaway from the whole thing, though? I mean, I guess as a Raider fan, what you're saying about maybe the Niners aren't going to be as good next year. I don't know.
I don't know if they won't be as good, but other teams will be there to figure them out.
Well, they're going to be taken apart. Their offensive coordinator's gone. They're going to lose.
Oh, they fired the defensive coordinator today. Yeah. Somebody had to be the fall guy, and it's on him. And I'll come back to my thoughts on the game, but knowing the overtime rules, which I heard that the NFL went over with the teams every day, just so they would know the rules. And people are wondering, why isn't Mahomes calling a timeout? Well, because it will go into quarter number 2, and you continue to play. It's not just one quarter.
You can't just go to Super Bowls tied.
Yeah, and so there were people asking questions. Where's the timeout? And from my seat, you get that ball first. You go for that touchdown.
Right.
You do not go for the 3 points because Mahomes has already proven at the end of the fourth quarter that he can drive the length of the field on you. Now, if you miss converting a touchdown, where would Kansas City start their drive? Inside the 10, maybe? Was it that close? It was pretty close.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're deep in they're backed up to their own end zone. I mean, to the end zone. And you probably stand a better chance of stopping that than them starting on the 25 and feeling a little bit more comfortable with a little breathing room. And I just think they erred. I think they erred in how they approached the overtime game. And, a number of people say, "Oh, but what about the missed field goal?" Not a missed field goal, a blocked field goal. That extra point was blocked. And I same could be said for what about Mahomes, missing Kelsey at the end of the game on the back shoulder throw. Well, the ball was low. Had that ball not been low, there was a guy open across the middle, and it would have been a moot point, game over. My feeling on the game is that the referees swallowed the whistles, weren't too many flags, because there was a lot of plays. It was like, whoa, you missed a holding on that one.
That is a funny saying, though, swallow the whistles. I know what you mean, but I'm just picturing actually swallowing the whistles. But no, I understand.
Yeah, they let him play.
Yeah.
They let them play. They let them get away with a little more than what you normally would in the playoffs and or the regular season. I don't know if the NFL mandated, hey, guys, let them play a little bit. Let's not stop the game as often as we normally do. And so both teams were allowed that. So you can't cry foul because it was kind of equal. And it was, it was a competitive game, and it was entertaining. Each team had their chance to win, and only one team proved that they could do it. And it's hard, man. We look at the Buffalo Bills of the late 80s, early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Or early 90s, that was, yeah. 4 trips in a row. Do you know how hard that is to get to the Super Bowl, let alone win it? And I tell you, this San Francisco team has got to be thinking the curse of Kaepernick, as everyone calls it.
Could be.
It's got to be weighing on them, man. How do we get over this hump? Because you put so much into getting there,
right?
And then you don't get over the hump. Now we have to start all over again. Some people aren't built for that.
I think it's Parcells. There was a Parcells that said, "That's why we lift all these weights all year long." It was a playoff game. He was pumping up the Giants, and that's why we do this.
But you have to be mentally tough to get back there. And if some guys might say, you know what, not worth it. I'm going to take a paycheck elsewhere. I'm going to get more money from the team in Florida or the team in New York. I'm leaving because I don't feel like going through this battle again. Let me just take the money and make sure that my family's comfortable for.
Well, I mean, when you're a professional football player, you've probably been the best player, top 2 on your team your whole life,
Yeah.
And to be second string and maybe with no hope of beating the guy in front of you, but yeah, you're good. Wouldn't you rather be on the field than ride the bench on a Super Bowl contender? I don't know. To me, I would
Absolutely.
I want to be on the field, and play,
Yeah. It takes a veteran player toward the end of his career to say, look, I'll do whatever I have to do on this team to win a ring.
Right.
Young guys that get there early to the Super Bowl, Marino, you think you're going to go back time and time again. And
this is easy. First year I'm in. Yeah. And
then it just doesn't happen. I mean, Charles Barkley got 2 cracks at it, right? In the NBA. And came up short. And people call him a loser. And it's like,
yeah.
It's not really a loser. I mean.
Well, do you remember Andy Reid kind of got run out of Philadelphia because he couldn't win the big game?
Yeah.
That was towards the end of his career. They were like, we need to win a game and you can't do it. Well, right. I guess he proved them wrong. But
because in this day and age, it's all about what are you doing? What have you done for me right now? There's no, like the Philadelphia 76ers, the process that they went through. They're like, give us 3 years, give us 4 years, we'll get there. In this day and age, it's all about now. That's why quarterbacks, you hear about quarterbacks coming out that are 23, 24 years old out of college, and teams don't want to take a chance on them because they're too old.
Okay, we saw something in this Super Bowl that will never, ever happen to the Las Vegas Raiders. I saw a number 87 of the Kansas City Chiefs get in the face of his head coach brutally. And I'm like, I want to see someone try that to Antonio Pierce. I don't think that's going to fly at all.
Never going to happen.
Never. You will never see that.
Never.
That would be a Woody Hayes chokehold shove and a forearm rip. And the coach will put him in the blue tent. Push him in the blue tent.
Oh, my God, dude. I know. Big game, emotions.
Who cares?
Your girl's in the box. She just flew in from Japan. You want to
leave
put
that
on
walrus
a show.
alone. Don't hit that walrus. Leave him alone. That's just disrespectful.
His brother told him. He said you were out of line. That you can't do that. You can't do that. That's like bumping a ref.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't mean it. It happens, and guess what? Out of here.
And I don't think a young Andy Reid would have put up with it.
Well, he's more sensible now.
He's an old man now. I mean, no offense, but it was a bad look. It was a bad look.
Bad look. And Kelsey, hopefully he's come out. And I know I've seen that he said he was wrong, but my God. And I've not watched any post coverage, and I didn't watch any pre coverage of the Super Bowl. I didn't want to see it. Hopefully he did admit that nationally that he was out of line. That is
so funny. I couldn't tell you what happened after at all. Goodbye. Okay, good. You guys can go ahead and leave our stadium now, and we're done.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear any of the radio here.
No.
Because only thing that is happening this week is whining.
Yeah.
Crying. Because my nephews follow, and they've been whining all week. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I've got a good friend, Kenny Watson. Now, Kenny and I worked together 20 plus years ago. And this guy would always wear Kansas City gear every day. And we would give him the business. Ed Brown and I would give Kenny the business. And Ed's name for Kenny was Fat Ass, or maybe it was the other way around. I think they called each other Fat Ass.
Right.
Anyway, I couldn't wait to get to work because there was just so much razzing going on. But Kenny stayed in his Kansas City gear. And hats off to him because he stuck with this team. He's not even from Kansas City, but somehow
true fan. I could give some props on that.
He's a true fan. And I talked to him Monday, and he was just so happy. And he's like, Mitch, have you ever been to Allegiant Stadium? I said, yeah. He said, because he said, if you hadn't, I was going to tell you need to go.
It's my favorite stadium ever.
And I could just feel his happiness, and I was happy for him. I want that for us, Gnarly.
Yes,
I want us to feel what Kenny's feeling.
Exactly.
So, Kenny, enjoy it, friend, because guess what? That's going to be for us, man. We're going to be top dog in the division, and then we're going to make our run for the Super Bowl.
I don't know if you got a chance to see Max Crosby at the award show where they're announcing offensive player of the day and defensive player. Max did not get one vote for defensive. I know. Not one. But I was watching. They kept cutting to him, and he was joking, smiling, anger. It was just like he was like a volcano, and his wife was kind of like the disrespect. Him sitting there was like charging that angry condor stork monster, and he's just ready to play.
Yeah,
and I think it's good for us. We should put in more of those things.
So I mentioned that I was reading the book Relentless by Tim Grover.
Yeah.
And Max epitomizes what he considers a cleaner, someone who just doesn't stop. Max is, he's been in the building every day getting treatment. And they said he's there more than some of the coaching staff. Max is ready to go. He says, I saw a thing the other day. He says, I train with the wide receivers and the defensive backs to run. He said, yeah, you might be good at running the 40 one time, but how it's about after 10 times or 20 times? He says, I'm beating all those guys. He says, I want to be as fast as those guys. And I've proven that I can hang with them. And that's the energy that I'm bringing to that defensive end position. And by being overlooked, wouldn't want to be a quarterback next year.
Right.
Would not want to be a facing the Raiders.
Right.
Because he's coming.
So who do we have for wide receivers? I know we still have Renfro at this point.
Well, Devontae Adams for sure.
And then we've got
Jacoby Myers.
No, the fast guy. What's his name? The super
number
speed.
11. There's number 11.
He was on the Chargers, and it's only his third year coming up.
And we had a rookie out of what I can't think of their names.
Regardless, I'm the point I'm trying to make is I think Devontae is like their older brother and is leading them and teaching them. There's a chance we lose Devontae. I hope not.
No.
I hope not, but I'm just saying.
No,
you never know in this league. Whatever, But who knows? I feel at peace in the fact that there is there is a plan. There is an energy. There is something to live off and play off from last year. The draft's coming up. That's our next thing. Where are we gonna line up there? Are we gonna get a free agent before the draft for a quarterback? Are we gonna stay with that? I have a feeling we're drafting linemen. That's kind of the way I'm feeling.
We definitely need them.
Yeah, I mean, unless we do some crazy move to get some young guy quarterback.
That would be the only reason to trade up is to get Daniels or May.
But otherwise, I think we're in the lineman business. I heard that Khalil Mack and Bosa are both going to be out of San Diego because they're just restructuring everything. And
Los Angeles.
Yes, that one too. And then that one too. They're sending it back to San Diego. Well, then I don't trust this source. It's one of those, ones that say stuff all the time. But it made it sound like Khalil Mack's coming back to the Raiders. And I don't know can you imagine Max and Max, Khalil Mack and Max, double M's, Eminem on the line.
That'd be unfair, actually. Because whoever played the nose would eat lunch every game. And I
don't know how Aiden O'Connell would feel about eating lunch in the same room with him, since Mac clearly had his lunch 7 times or 6 times in one game.
He would probably buy him lunch every day. Like, thank God you're in this room with me.
Please don't tackle me again. All right. So the draft, I was looking at, Cousins is available, Tannehill, and also, Wilson. Those are names that are being popped up there.
Yeah.
There's no excitement for me.
Yeah. Kurt would be the one that I think could come in and fit in. Russell's too aloof, man. He likes to be off on his own and doing whatever. I think Kurt would come in and just be one of the guys. I don't know if you saw the quarterback special on Netflix. Where
I did. Kurt, I liked it. I liked that.
I knew nothing about Kurt until that show, and oh my goodness, I fell in love with the guy. He's just one of the boys.
You like that? That's his line. Did you like when he was on the Redskins or the Commanders? You like that?
Yeah. It's like, wow. This is the kind of guy you want on your team.
Him and his son took their shirts off and blew the Viking horn during the playoffs. I thought that was pretty funny.
The best. But then you got Russell. Marshawn told the story that he wanted to talk to Russell. And so he called the front office and said, hey, give me Russell's number. This is in Seattle. And they said, well, you have to call this person. And then that person called Russell, and then Russell called Marshawn, I think, from an unknown number. And it's like, what? Dude, you have to be a team. You have to be a team every day, not just on Sundays.
I don't have time to make an appointment to see one of my teammates to get on the same page. You're 4 steps away,
Everyone else is having beers, and they look around, and Russell's across town at some place with cloth napkins and silverware, and they're eating hamburgers. So, be one of the boys. You have to be. You've got to get down there with them, because that's the only way you can be a team. You can't be separate.
Well, okay. Now tell me, we don't know what's going to happen on our draft day. We don't know what direction we're going, but. What is the deal about someone burying a jersey in our stadium? Do you know the story on that? I don't.
They said they buried a jersey,
or they did something they hit a jersey.
Well, Marquez Valdez Scantling planted the flag at the 50-yard line, and someone says, "Well, they were on a neutral field. Not really neutral. That's our house." And this guy planted the flag.
Yeah.
At the 50-yard line. And the way I saw it when it happened was like he was sticking it to us, not the Niners, or that we won. It was kind of like, we're in your house, Raiders, and this is what I'm doing. If this were the old days, guaranteed he would get knocked out on his first pass play.
Exactly.
They'll get them somehow, but they're not going to forget.
So I went to Sanger High School in Sanger, California, home of Tom Flores. Played in Tom Flores Stadium, but our helmets look like the Chiefs helmet, and it says Apaches or Sanger. I'm like, oh, it's always the same uniform, and I'm like, oh man, because it makes me think of Tom Flores, and and I'm like, oh, so it kind of bugs a little bit, just the whole thing.
Well, we have a coach now. When you talked about someone getting in his face, I just saw an interview of him, and this guy is serious. He wants to be the best Raider coach in Raider history. He wants his team to be physical, even on pass plays. And just listening to him, if I'm a free agent and you want to play for a real guy, you come to Las Vegas. If you want to be a front office staff, part of the staff, you come to the Raiders. They have accumulated a veteran front office. And you watch when free agency happens, how many players sign to come to, good, not like the tail end of the era in Oakland where we were getting all these guys been in the league,
have a little tank, maybe
52 years. We're going to get some quality free agents sniffing at the Raider door.
Okay, I heard this for the very first time. The day they announced that you're the interim coach, it was a short week, and he did full pad practice, full pads.
Nice.
And no one does that in the middle of the year, like that, I guess. And he goes, "This is what our team needs. We need to hit each other a little bit."
Yeah, and he said that.
Yeah,
he said even in shorts, he said, "I want you putting hands." He said, "If it's Devontae, I want you to knock him off his path."
Right.
He says, "We have to get used to putting hands on people. And the only way to do that is to practice it."
Yeah. There is a different era going on. Now that Super Bowl 59 is on the way, and guess what? We're tied with everyone right now.
0-0, baby.
We're tied.
And then some during the Super Bowl interviews, he said, "So are you worried about Harbaugh coming into the AFC West and Kansas City's already there and you got to deal with Denver?" And Antonio says, "If I recall correctly, we went 3-1 in the division when I took over." He said, "They need to be worried about us, not the other way around." And
I think, were they 3-0 with him? Or no, did we lose?
We lost that first game with the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the first divisional game with the Chargers. That was 7. Khalil Mack, how many? 22 sacks or whatever it was.
That's right.
NFL record.
It's hard for me to remember because I feel like I have too much brain damage from so many hits. All right. Well, look, I know this, that it's 0-0. We don't know exactly what we're doing, but we are going to figure it out for you. But if you put everything on the table, the one thing I think about is if we can get a perfect rotation, it would make everything better. And I think that as the Raiders turn, look at it, because they have perfect rotation.
As the Raiders turn,
so are the days of our lives. Look at that. That is a basketball trading advice. If you go to perfectrotation.com, you can get that. Now, what is that nice code? You get 30% off.
Raiders.
See?
Raiders.
Difference maker. Okay, my goal for you is I want to see that globe thing in Vegas as the perfect rotation ball. I've seen him do a basketball. We got to get a perfect rotation on that thing. How cool would that be? At least fake it. Get one of your artist friends to put it up there. Because I have seen a ball
on the sphere.
Yeah, on the sphere. Dude, you got to have some perfect rotation on that thing.
Oh my God. I don't know if you could afford me after that.
That's true. That's true. Wait, never mind. Don't do it. Never mind. Forget it. Mitch Adams,
you're already paying me too much to do this. I feel bad, man. You know what? Hold my check this week. Give it to Jerry.
I'll hold it this week. Okay. I might double it next week just for you because I really want you back. All right.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
not a fan of the team, but I do like the players, and I wish Dre Greenlaw a speedy recovery, because that is one tear your Achilles running out onto the field.
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst.
Awful. I wish that guy well, because I admire good play, and you have to give credit where credit's due, and that guy's a beast. So
I hear you.
Get well soon.
Mitch Adams, a professor of all perfect rotation at perfectrotation.com, and also the man that Al Davis dared to hire back in the 70s. He said, I'm going to take a risk and I'm bringing in Adams. I don't care. You're the original Adams at the Raiders. Then they've hired Devontae after you, but you're the first. Right. You're the first Adams, right?
I ran into Devontae one day and with my twin brother. We said we could be a law firm, Adams, and Adams. He laughed.
See? And then you could apples too. Adams apples. I like it. Yeah. I think it's a good thing. Hey, where did you go to high school? You went to Skyline?
Skyline High School, along with Gary Payton, Dwayne Garner, who played down at SC. Dwight Garner, who played in the NFL, was there. Who else?
What's your mascot?
The Titans.
The Titans. Remember?
Greg Foster. Let's see.
Skyline Titans.
There are quite a few pros that came out of Skyline. Oh, Brian Johnson. That guy was baseball at Stanford and football.
There was a guy, too. I think his name was Forrest Gump. I think Forrest Gump went there, too.
Yes, he did. And we have... Well, we're trying to do something with him.
We're trying to get Forrest, see if he'll run with us.
Yeah,
that's what we want.
Yeah, Tom, if you're listening, buddy, we got to get you to a game next year. So,
and honestly, Tom, you're welcome to come on the show. So, just let him know. Yeah, bosom buddy.
I invited him.
I know. We're working on it. We're not done yet. Come on, you guys went to high school together.
We're not done.
You're at the high school. Figure that out.
We're going to get that guy.
All right.
You watch.
It's going to happen.
Maybe not for this show, but he's coming to a game with us.
It's going to happen. Okay.
Yeah.
You threw so much stuff out in the universe this year. I believe in it now. So
it's that easy, baby. It's happening.
All right. We'll see you next week for Inside the Patch. Mitch Adams, as always, thank you very much. Go Raiders.
Gnarly.
We'll be back with more Inside the Patch on 1430 ESPN, your official home of the Las Vegas Raiders.